What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Bona Fide Bullshit, the podcast, and this is episode
26.
26. Right? Yeah, that is correct. 26.
Time flies when you're having fun and stressed out.
Time does fly when you're having fun and you're stressed out, and you got another hump day podcast to give to the folks for the listening pleasure that they can relate to, because we always bring everybody that relatable bullshit that's out there that's going on in our lives, as well as stuff that people that can relate to in their own lives.
There's a lot of bullshit happening right now.
Have you heard about any good fights lately? I mean, this weekend there was a good UFC fight, a hostile fight, and
I heard wasn't there some like Asian girl fighting or something like that?
Yeah, there was, and she ended up getting her shit kicked in. Unfortunately, I was able to order the pay-per-view, so I watched it allegedly. on your phone at night while I was sleeping, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, the crazy thing was that you turned around at me and you were like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "What? I'm watching the UFC fight."
Because you were like this, you were like, and I was like, "What are you?" I'm like, "What is happening?"
You know, not to take anything away from the UFC and Dana White, like that has to be one of the most UFCs in a long time that was like badass from front to back. That was definitely, it warranted a pay-per-view buy-in. Fortunately, I used a certain individual's account and I was able to watch on their behalf.
You won't name names?
No, I won't name names. I'm not going to do that. We don't incriminate anybody in this podcast.
Snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches, and like I said, we always leave everybody unnamed so we don't put them out on what I call Front Street. But there definitely was a good fight, and we
also have a fighter in our house.
Yeah, apparently we have a UFC fighter in training to be.
Maybe more like a wrestler. He's maybe more like a wrestler because he uses props.
They call them UFOs, unidentified flying objects. UFOs without a fucking doubt. I mean, it's. Do you want to dive in? I mean, I had a couple of things that I wanted to talk to the folks about, but we always share experiences, and I'm sure.
Maybe we should explain a little bit, because for our friends who are watching on YouTube, they probably could see what a pile of shit I look like right now. I am fucking exhausted.
And the Bushmills is treating me well, as you heard probably from part of our intro.
And
it's just one of those days where you
barely hanging on.
I mean, I typically have a drink and a smoke. 9 times out of 10, honestly, I just have just a smoke. I'm more of like a social drinker unless I'm with friends or whatever. Yeah. I never really grab a bottle and just be like, I'm going to get smashed. I mean, like if I drink, I tend to have a drink when I watch Sticks and Sips. My boy Frankie Drinks on Facebook every Wednesdays. Or if I'm amongst a friend setting, like when I'm hanging out with my buddy Tim. We're definitely social drinkers. Tim, when I'm hanging out with Tim.
In a social setting, I could drink it the fuck up. I got fucking blasted.
But I mean,
alone or even with you, I'm just like, this is fine.
I mean, literally behind this camera, I have a refrigerator filled with goodies. I have a bunch of goodies over there. Typically, we kick off the show with some goodies, but this definitely warranted this week where it was just like, as a parent, you were just like, we were just like, I should say, where it was just like, you know what, I just need a drink right now. I just want to just have a drink and a smoke.
I had a margarita on the way home. I'm just going to say
it. Were you margaritaing and driving?
I was having a margarita in my Jeep on the way home, windows down, top off, living my best life on the way home.
It's so funny
because I knew that was my like little window of time. I was like, my hair's blowing in the wind, drinking a margarita.
It's 80-degree weather right now here in Illinois.
It was in a red Solo cup, that little
classy.
What's it called? A roadie.
Roadie sody.
Yeah, roadie. So my mom, shout out to T Money for giving me that roadie. She always does that. Gives me a little margarita to go after work, and just make my way back home.
That's how she treats her
employees.
Not
even strong.
She benefits, all that, raises all that out the window. But hey, I'll send you home with a margarita.
You want a margarita to go? I got you. Literally, I came to her house and she's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" She just saw on my face. I was like, "Do you have any margaritas?" And she's like, "No, but I can make some." I'm like, cool. Please do.
And she always comes clutch. It's like, shout out to my mother-in-law. She has the most impeccable timing when it comes to handing you a margarita. Like, even when we go over family functions, if I'm drinking a beer or I'm downing some scotch with your dad, because your dad right away is like, here's some scotch. And I'm like, damn, let me just put these bags down. But it's like the impeccable timing, especially with the warm weather, where she'd be like,
I have to get the recipe, because her little concoction, and I'm not like a big lover of margaritas by any means, but like her shit is just like so perfect. I could drink it all fucking day.
Like, not to sidestep, but as we always do, we always sidestep. Like, when we go to restaurants and things of that nature, like, I'm not ever like, let me see what kind of margarita you got. Typically, I get an old fashioned, or I
Once in a while.
Once
in a while, I will. Like, if something says spicy on it, I'm immediately attracted to it. So if it's like a spicy margarita, I'm like, all right, I'll try it. Yeah. But other than that, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna get a pina colada or a margarita or some shit like that.
My first thing is I always reach for an old fashioned, and if I kind of look at the establishment, I'm like, you know what? I don't think their old fashions are gonna be up to par. I ended up getting some other mixed drink, or hell, I just even do just a regular craft beer, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me try your craft beer. Let me see what you guys have. See if they got a good list, and I'll check it, or I'll check the Untapped app and kind of get into that state of mind. But yeah, she always comes clutch with those margaritas at the right time, and whatever her recipe is, it's like perfect, because yeah, some of these places.
Today was the right time.
No, and you know, it was funny because a couple weeks ago we got together with my brother Al and his wife. Shout out to Al and Anna, and she made some margaritas which were definitely up to par with a real good tequila. But god damn, I was like, oh shit. Him and I we're mastering some of our mixes down, as some of you might not know or might know.
She made them really good. She made them really good, and it just tasted like nothing. Like, it tasted good. So you're just like, oh, I'm not drinking anything. And then before you know it, I was like, I'm buzzed.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I was gonna say, is like some of you guys might know, and
yeah,
some
you
of
had like
do
one.
Know. Yeah, Al and I were part of Huggy Boy Records, where we put out all these consecutive mixtapes out, or mixes, I should say, because mixtapes not really a thing anymore. But we put these mixtapes and these mixes, I should say.
Kids don't know about that.
They don't know about the tapes, but yeah, we put these mixes out online on the SoundCloud, which is on the cloud.
SoundCloud, it's on the cloud.
He does a real good job of like always cutting with the old school mixes. He's always on a radio station every Friday night that you guys can tune into. But you know, him and I were just tightening up some mastering and working on some stuff, and I'm sitting there with them, and I'm like, I take it right to the face. I was like, damn! I'm like, this shit hits.
Honestly, I didn't taste the tequila. Like, I like tequila. I could drink it straight, but like, I was just like, oh man, like, you made this really good. And we were like 2 in, and I was like,
not to take away anything from her. She made them good, but it was just like, for my liking, I was like, damn, I can feel that in my soul.
You don't like tequila.
No, I like mezcal. Shout out to Joey. I like mezcal, but when it comes to tequila,
you don't like tequila. We're talking about tequila, and you don't like it. You're afraid of it. You don't like the taste of it.
As my
you've had bad experiences with it.
Yes, as my Spanish brethren would say, is just, you know, tequila a mí es no es bueno. Cuando yo estaba bebiendo la tequila, shish, pal piso me cae. Pow, like that. That means when I'm drinking tequila, I'm going right to the floor. Or some activities are happening, like I'm in Las Vegas and I'm calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning while you're pregnant to come get me in the lobby.
7 months.
There's a bunch of NASCAR fans
7 months
playing slot machines, and I'm throwing up all over the place. But that's another story right there.
That's a whole nother story.
But yeah, but today Warren did a little bit of extra more adult beverage activities.
The parenting has been like rough lately. It has been really rough lately.
It has been.
You know, you try your best as a parent, and you just wonder where you go wrong sometimes.
And I contemplated with that. So to give you guys a little, you know, behind the scenes, you know, we obviously have a teenager in our home that we always talk about. We always talk about our trials and tribulations with him, as well as our 6-year-old. And it's just one of those things that, like, I don't know.
Someone said that.
It's the walls in the studio here.
It might have been.
But, yeah, we go through our trials and tribulations, just as a lot of our folks a lot of our listeners go through. And it's just a coming of age thing where you got a teenager, and now they're getting out more. They're exploring things more. They get into more havoc, if you want to call it that, havoc. I mean, he's not really getting into havoc. It's just poor decision making. That's the word I'm looking for. Poor
decisions are so poor. And, you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, we, I don't know, drill into his head, like I'm sure many other parents do. Yeah. You know, God, respect, family, school, all the above, like just being a good person in general. You know, he's overall like just a super smart kid, honestly. Extremely lazy, like to the 500th degree, but super smart. But, you know, we always tell him, you know, as long as you do like well in school and you're just putting in effort, like, you know, those grades, you know, it could be an A.
I feel we're the most lenient. I know sometimes you tend to crowdsource folks and ask their opinions. I don't. I'm like, because I know a bunch of my friends are fucking mess, which is nothing against them, and we're all a mess. But I know when you crowdsource and you hear some of this feedback of like, man, I'm not that damn bad of a parent
like I legit
when it comes
like
to shit or that strict.
feel like, oh my god, I'm just like such a fucking psycho. And then I'm finding out like, no, like parents are doing the exact same thing as us, actually worse. Yeah. So this time we've kind of come to the point where I'm like, this is it. Not only is he doing pretty shitty in school, like I think he has like 2 or 3 Ds, which, you know, warranted being grounded from his cell phone until those get up.
Real quick
like,
to take that stuff away.
A good C. And usually, like, I'm like, you maybe more are a little bit more lenient, like, okay, you can have your phone for a couple hours. It's the weekend. You've been kind of good for a few days, you know? But like this time, it has been so many, like over like the past at least 2 years, if not more, that, you know, he has just had such awful, disrespectful behavior. I'm like, no, like nothing. You literally get nothing.
You know, my whole thing is like, you know, sometimes for kids, and especially when they're 13, 14 years old, it's like you give a little carrot, there's a little bit of, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a little bit of motivation. And sometimes now we're at that point where it's like you can't find that motivation. Like, trust me, when I was a kid, I felt like any little carrot that you would dangle, like I was running from it, you know, not from it, for it. Like I was running for that carrot. Like I'm like, you know what, let me just, you know, there's a prize in mind. And it's like, I don't know if it's a combination of that there's just an abundance of shit that he gets, so there's not really nothing to attain, but we do take it away at the drop of a dime. I mean, we're getting accommodations from his school staff. It's just like, oh man, we hear other parents don't do this and they don't do that, and you guys do this and you guys do that. So we do have a little bit of old school upbringing when it comes to things, because it's like, yeah, if you do good, you're gonna get rewarded. Now you do piss poor, you're not gonna get rewarded. And you
get rewarded just for effort, like genuine, you know, effort, not like, yeah, I tried, you know, like, no. If I could see genuine effort, if you bring home a D, fine.
You know, and I have one of those things where, and I'm sure a lot of folks can relate to, where it's like, you know, my upbringing was really rough, and it made me who the man I am today. It gave me character. So it's like, you know,
what they call it?
Character. Right. And I didn't do air quotes for that.
Character.
Character. You know, and it gave me the characteristics to be an individual and to go ahead and succeed in life. But there was also moments where I you know, I look at my kids and I'm like, man, there's stuff that I wasn't given because you know, certain circumstances where there was upbringing, money and whatnot and what have you. So it's like I always try to do a little bit extra because I'm like, man, I didn't get this, or I wasn't given this, or I wasn't shown this. So I try to do that, and
I'm the opposite. Like, I got everything, but I got everything because I was giving, you know, like I was giving the good grades. I was being respectful. Like, I think I legit was grounded one time in my entire life, and that was it. Like, I was good behavior. I didn't fuck around in school. Like, I got good grades, and that's why in turn I got to like go on vacations, get to go shopping, like, you know, all those kind of things.
And we heard all the stories your dad tells me, I should say, about, you know, you tickling the ivories, you're playing your, what was the organ, and you doing good in school and doing this, and you know, you had like the typical, what's that word I'm looking for? Like stereotypical Asian family upbringing where it was like school, play an instrument, do all this, and this and that.
Except I stopped playing the instrument and they were really mad at me, but they got over it.
And he's super upset. Your dad's what, 82?
Yeah.
And he still holds that grudge. Like, and I think still sits in their basement. Like, hopefully maybe Eli's the last resort where he might decide to crack his fingers and let him play, but I doubt it.
No fucking chance.
Today, we showed up, you know, our son showed up today when we got a call and from the school, and he got in a fight, you know. And the crazy thing is about this is that I'm on the phone and he comes in, and I was excited because a couple days ago he ended up having a great drop and he brought it up, and I was excited to tell him like, hey, you're no longer grounded from being outside, you could go outside and play. And I'm like, hold on a second, let me finish this call. I got some good news to tell you. And I hang up the call. I'm like, and my first thing is like, hey, what's up? What's going on? How was your day? Like, I'm just not going to bombard him with news. And he's like, I don't know if you know, but I got in a fight. So the first thing I look at him physically, I'm like, let me check him out. Let me see what's going on here.
Clearly he's fine, and he should have gotten his ass beat.
Yeah, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, wait a second. So you got in a, like, what exactly happened? And then at that point, as a father, I'm like, did this guy get in a fight with a girl? Because he got nothing on him, no scratches. Not saying I do it for girls. I'm just saying, like, he showed no scars. And then he proceeds to tell me what ensued and him using the foreign object, i.e. his school laptop at that. Hit the kid, grabbed the kid by his hair. It got down on the floor like most fights go. They go down on the floor. and just in time a teacher stops.
Long story kind of short, long story long, because obviously we've rambled about this for long already. But
as always.
Yeah,
we digress and we sidestep a lot here.
Yeah.
We're 26 episodes in. A lot of folks know that. But if you don't know it and your first time tuning in, that's what we do here.
But, long story long, again, the fight was over him kind of being the bully and making fun of some kids and their appearance and stuff like that. And,
which is a no-no in this house.
Which is such a no-no.
No.
Like, if there's anything we stress and have always stressed is to be your own person.
Yep.
Whatever that may entail. Maybe it's colored hair. Maybe it's tattoos. Obviously, I don't feel like we always look at the stereotypical parents. And, I want them to know that they could look however they want or whoever they choose to be, whatever they choose to, to do when they grow up, whoever they choose to love when they grow up. And so as a mom, as a parent, it's why has that not set in? And, part of me is what have we not done enough of to let you know that that's not okay to make fun of someone? And he made fun of the wrong person because he was a year younger, but he was
6'1",
over a foot taller than our kid.
6'1" kid.
So it's one, you have the fucking balls, but is it what's it called? Little
Napoleon complex?
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, that. Does that make you tougher? Does that make you better? Does that make you feel better
Testing
about
the
something?
waters, basically what's going on there.
And then part of it is I know maybe it's that teenage years, he's lost. He doesn't know who the fuck he is, and I know that for sure. He's confused. He looks left, he looks right, he sees one kid, this kid looks like this, dresses like this, acts like this, and he doesn't know personally who he is. And I think that's half of it for sure, and the other half is a whole bunch of other shit.
And my whole thing, my rule of thumb is I've always been an advocate of a fight comes your way, handle your business. And I've always said that the key thing I said, my example, I always say if a fight comes to your front door, I told them your body is your home. If a fight comes to your front door, someone's coming to you, defend your shit. But don't say some shit, then a day removed, this kid calls you out in this shit, and then you want to kind of stand your ground, and then shit sparks off, which ends up going sideways. And that's what we're not cool with. Like I said, I'm not cool with that. And I'm one of the biggest, I'm one of the biggest jokers. I always kid, we always joke.
Yeah.
But there just comes a level of to where even I know my limits, especially with other individuals. I'm not going to bully anyone, or I'm not going to troll anyone and say something to somebody.
And that's the thing. It wasn't just that one kid he made fun of. There was a second kid. He was doing the same shit today. And it was and I told him today, I'm you're that guy. You're being a fucking troll. You're being a fucking troll and you're being a fucking bully, and it's just not fucking okay with me whatsoever. It doesn't sit right with me. I'm super fucking upset about it and disappointed, disgusted. I don't even know what other fucking adjectives to use because I'm just what the fuck? Yeah. Where has it gone wrong? Where have I gone wrong? That's why I just keep thinking to myself.
Yeah, I mean, and as a parent, and a lot of people can relate, I know we say this a lot, it's a lot about being able to relate. You just start, after a couple conversations earlier this week, last night I had a hell of a night's sleep, you're just thinking, because you try to think if there's something you're doing wrong, or there's something you could do more of, and you try to toy with that. And again, obviously this is our first son, it's the oldest, and it's uncharted territories for us. And I think a lot of individuals, when you go through uncharted territories, it's a learning experience. So right now we're currently going through a learning experience, and it's going to have its curves. And you hope that, I feel that you and I always take a step forward. And again, we got commended on that call we were on earlier this week with the school where for another situation where it's they commended us on being ahead of the game.
Perfect,
and
right?
We do that.
No one's perfect. We're all just trying to figure shit out as we go. I think there's just some things where you're oh, this is normal shit, you know what I mean? And then there's other stuff where you're just how? How, as a parent, when we teach you all these things, are you the complete opposite of everything that we teach you? Because you
basically represent us when you're out and about, you know what I mean? And it kind of brings me into my next subject where it's it's when you're in school and the way things change and the way things happen and the way stuff goes forward to the friends and stuff that you're courting, you keep around, and you always hope for the better, you know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where you just kind of where it's currently a work in progress, and We obviously always were an open book here on this podcast, and we share our experience. And I know folks look for us sharing our experience because there's some of our friends that we know that listen to this that they still have kids that are younger that are becoming in teenage years. And man, if I definitely find the fucking code,
good luck and Godspeed.
No, I would give you the code. But not to break the attention real quick, I got to remind you guys of a special deal here. As always, support for Bona Fide Bullshit the podcast is brought to you by Manscape. Who's the best in men's below the waist grooming? Manscape. Offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. I'm one of them 2 million. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners. 20% off plus free shipping with the code BONA at manscaped.com. Once again, that's 20% off plus Angelica's favorite thing, free shipping.
The free shipping, man. Just before this, I ordered like some chocolate something off Instagram because it was like normally $25. It went down to like $10, like caffeine chocolate. You eat a piece of it and it's the same amount of caffeine that there is in espresso. Anyways. Yeah. And it was free shipping, so I was like, fucking, I'm buying it. It's a free shipping. Like, literally any company could be like, hey, there's free shipping. You're like, you know what? That's a good deal.
I'm in, but
it's a good deal. You get a lot of shit from them.
And you do.
And it's fucking free shipping. And that shit's like, it's legit. So it's heavy. You know what I mean? It's heavy, so it costs a lot to ship. So I get that part. But you get it for free. So listen.
You can't beat that. The Lawnmower 3.0, which is currently out right now. It's the newest bad boy on the block. I've been a big fan of it. I've been telling you guys each and every week about it. It's something that I really enjoy. It's brand new technology. It's really great. When I'm using it, it keeps everything nice and clean. It's got the little Angelica's favorite, the little light that's on it that you kind of see what you got going on.
Gets me every time.
I mean, one of the big features that I love about it is that when I'm in the shower, I can use it in the shower. I mean, they provide you this cool newspaper for you to do in your bathroom and whatever. But let's face it, man. Let's really face it. Sometimes hairs and little pelitos, which is hairs for Spanish, kind of get all over the place. And you're in the shower, everything's going to fall down the drain and go down the bye-bye. Yeah, so if you guys get a chance, check out the Lawnmower 3.0. I definitely stand by it. It's one of my favorite. They have a nose trimmer and they have another array of items on their website that you can go ahead and you can take advantage of by using our promo code BONA. That's Bona at manscaped.com.
You need that shit for summer. Your balls will thank you.
They will definitely thank you. But taking a little back before we start answering some questions, it made me think, like, when we were talking about like choosing friends and whatnot, are you still cool with like a core of your friends from when you were in high school or elementary school? Or it's hard for me because I shifted from being in school to Chicago and then going to high school in the suburbs, so there was a shift there. So I had to like fire friends and get new friends.
Yeah, I mean, there's people I still keep in touch with, but not like hang out with often.
Yeah, I know a couple weeks ago we talked about the whole Facebook dilemma when we were looking at so-and-so, the popular chick or the star jock. And I was trying to think, like, I haven't really had those, and I'm still in contact with some of those friends that I went to school with, but it turned more to just like a mutual friendship where it's just like, hey, how are you? Or they see things, if we post things, they comment, but not hang out. But then I see a group of my friends that still hang out. They used to hang out back in 7th,
or
8th.
just text them on their birthdays, happy birthday or Merry Christmas or something. Hope you and your family are well. Like, that's pretty much. Yeah,
that's as far as it goes. And I know some folks, like, talking with a friend of mine, he's like, oh, yeah, that's my high school friend, and we still get together and we still hang out. And I was like, yeah, I really don't got that. And he said, oh, well, you got, friends of the season. Have you ever heard of that term, friends of the season?
Yeah, I literally was just about to say that. I think there is a friend for every season. And sometimes, you grow, with those friends from high school, and you grow with them with every season and change, and sometimes you just don't. And it's not like anything bad happens. It's just like you grow up. Like who you were in high school is not the same who you were in college. It's not the same who you are as an adult. So all those people that you are or have become or what were in the past, like, it's just not the same. So how can you expect to, always have the same interest or...
No, and it's cool. And honestly, sometimes I look at it and I'll see them all hanging out. I'm like, man, wow, they're still tight. Like, it's cool. But then I know sometimes you see whether it's certain comments or certain posts and you're just like, well, they're still living in that high school dream. And it's like, man, you got kids now. Life is different. right. I mean, even when I was in high school and we switched over from moving from the city to the suburbs, it was like I still kept in contact with my city friends. And then when I started doing music, I was hanging around my city guys doing music, and I spent the majority of my time in the city. So, you know,
I mean, I think the friends that I don't speak to anymore, or just speak to like here and there, from high school and whatnot, I think they've all grown up and have families and are really doing amazing. I'm super happy for them. I think we just don't hang out like that. But I'm glad they're not kind of stuck in the high school years and kind of became like hot messes, you know, like for real hot messes, not like, you know, the hot mess that I usually call myself. But, you know, yeah, it's weird how, you know, relationships evolve, and some of the people that you've known for such a short time become, you know, more family than people you've known your whole life. So
no, that's very true. So I mean, it's just something that was brought up to me, and I wonder if some of our listeners out there still keep that core friends, or they still keep those core people.
I think that's great if you do. I think it's great if you do. If
yeah,
you're all grown
like I said, I mean, I genuinely look, and part of me is like, man, I remember we used to hang out so much, and now we don't, and we're adults, and they got kids, or I have kids, but we don't. And during that era, like, you know, I've always been an era person. Like, I know people just, I guess it's the same thing as the seasons.
Yeah.
You know, I just had that era of who I was hanging out with and what I'm doing and who's around me with the same interest I'm in. And I'm grateful for all the friendships that I have now.
If there's a reason for the season or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's
sometimes the seasons change and you just have to roll with it.
Maybe they teach you something. Maybe they get you through something at the time, you know. Maybe you're just being like, you know, maybe you're just fun teenagers doing like fun shit together. You know what I mean? Like, you had those friends, I had those friends where it was just like your drinking buddies. Like, you were of that 21 to whatever age you kind of stopped, you know, hoeing around. And
some
they
of
were
those
just
are still
your
hoeing
drinking
around.
friends. Some are still hoeing around, you know.
Hey, we're going.
Some are still roaming and hoeing. You know, it's just how it is.
So before we wrap up,
speaking of hoeing,
yes, I know you have some questions for us.
Speaking
so we can't leave you guys without no questions, because you guys given to us each and every week. So let's check in real quick. Let's see what they got for us.
There are two kind of good ones that I thought I would touch on. And okay, so one person said, I high key want to be a sugar baby. High key. You know, it's like low key, but you're like, it's obvious. Like, I'm totally open to like admitting like I would want to do this. So she said, I high key want to be a sugar baby for someone who doesn't want sugar unless they are fine as fuck. You know what that means, right?
Yes,
sugar.
I do.
You get what sugar means?
It's like those memes you see where it shows all the girls in the boat and they're like, but they don't show you the old man taking the picture behind them.
Yes. Or when we go to Las Vegas and we see very odd couples at the bar and you're like,
he's paying for
like, that's not normal. That's not like, you know, they've been in a relationship for 10 years kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I guess, you know, it's one of those things to each their own. There's some, you know, I actually met individuals at cigar lounges that just want a younger, not meaning like you're 17, 18 years old. I mean, if they're like in their 50s and 60s, they want a 25, 30, maybe at 35.
Yeah, some that just want like arm candy. I know, like one of our good friends growing up. So she became a stripper. And she was a stripper. I know.
She became a stripper.
She became a stripper, a dancer, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, she became
Woman of the night.
Woman of the night. She became a stripper. Okay, she was a stripper here in Chicago for quite some time. And then she moved to Las Vegas and was stripping there. And then somehow evolved into just being like, I guess it's an escort, but literally it was just like literally
level up.
Yeah, it was literally old men who just wanted arm candy to someone, and they would just literally take her shopping. Like, she had to do nothing with them. No like physical activity, no like stripping. Like,
much props to her for that.
Yeah, like, and she was being taken you know, they were taking her shopping and she was making bank. So honestly, if I was single, I'd be all for that. I'd be fucking sugar daddying it up. I'd be doing fucking what's the thing I always talk about?
Which one? I mean, there's a bunch of shit that
you
hypothetically want to get into.
You know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, like, not the camming, but like, you know, or
the OnlyFansing?
I'd be OnlyFansing, I'd be sugar babying it up, like, yeah, for sure.
I don't know, me personally at that 100%. Age, obviously I'm not that age yet, so I can't tell.
Gung-ho. Emphasis on the hoe.
Best believe if I'm paying for something, I'm getting something.
Yeah, but also you're not rich and old.
I'm just saying, like, you know, if I'm dropping some ducats.
But at that time, like, these dudes are so old, they literally just want company. Like, that's it. They're super old and rich, and that's what they want. And if you want to give me money and take me shopping, fine.
I mean, I give you money and take you shopping now.
It's not that kind of shopping.
Oh, okay. It's just a different level.
It's more high class shopping. Okay,
I guess.
It's different.
Have at it. I'm just saying. If
like your shopping is like we're going to Ross, which first of all I love, but like that's on a different level.
Not even. I don't even like going to Ross. You're in there for like hours on end.
Yeah, but that's what would be being a sugar daddy would be like taking me somewhere I want to go and go shopping. Like
that's why I don't fit the bill for a sugar daddy.
No,
and I won't be a sugar daddy.
No, you got to be way more. You got to be way more richer.
No way.
Okay, so this person had said, does anyone else have a weird ass obsession? Like all of a sudden you're obsessed with XYZ. And they went on to explain. Let me finish. Like all of a sudden you're obsessed with a thing or a person. You have to find out everything about them. And it just doesn't stop like on social media. Like you go digging further, you know? For example, I'm obsessed as fuck with Joe Coy right now.
Damn, you know, it's so crazy to see.
And I replied, I was like, listen, I cannot emphasize this enough. We love Joe Coy.
Yeah, it's so crazy to see.
Love.
Even when we were down in Florida hanging out with my big brother Willie, Giselle, we were hanging out at their house with Fabian and the whole team, George and Cruz, and they were watching, they're laughing, and we're like, I felt like we were like, man, we've been on the Joe Coy bus. I mean, to my right of me is an autographed fun pop of Joe Coy. Like, we've been on that Joe Coy bus when he was performing at a small venue to where he recognizes so many shows in. Remember when he was like, hey guys, what's going on? He gave us hugs, gave us free shirts, didn't charge us for merch. Like, we've been rocking out with him since day one. And it's crazy to see where he's at, and I respect it.
One of our things when we were like dating and stuff, we would always go to comedy shows and just see all these different comedians. And we took to Joe Coy. He would come to Schaumburg to the Improv, and it's a small, for those of you who don't know, it's a small comedy.
People,
yeah, and it's inside like the Wood, well, like on the outskirts, kind of like inside, half outside of the Woodfield Mall. So it's small. Okay, we would like wait in line and whatever, but every time he came to town, we would come, and then he was at the Improv, and then he was at the
Chicago Theater.
Now
he's like
that's and then we're supposed to see him again, but it got changed obviously because of COVID.
Yeah, we got tickets for his later show. I think it's Chicago Theater again, but he's like right there where he's about to like do the Allstate Arena of the United Center. Let's keep it real.
For sure. I mean, everyone, and it's crazy because so he's Filipino and he does all the like Filipino jokes, and I always thought, well, he understands it because you're married to a Filipino.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's right.
Yeah, he knows all my family and all the crazy antics and how they talk and all the inside jokes, but. You know, I always thought, oh, do you like other people get it? But like legit the entire fucking world loves him. And I just think it's like fucking amazing.
It's hilarious. Like I said,
it's so cool.
I mean, again, and then I'm bragging, like I said, between the fun, I mean, in my drawer over here, we have the autograph when he was doing the flats. Like, we've been rocking out since day one. So whoever is digging into that, like, keep doing your digging. Joe is an awesome guy. He's got a crazy history of the way he came up in the comedy industry. I know it's something that, like, my boy Abi's been in the trenches. Joey V, who's another local comedian. It takes a long time for you guys to cut your chops.
It's a lot of work. And it's just super interesting to know that stuff. So I get why you get obsessed with something and then you just keep going and keep going.
Would you say you technically obsessed over TLC in 90 Day?
100%.
Or just a TLC?
Oh my god, 100%. I mean, I guess it does kind of stop on social media for me because like that's kind of all I have time for. You know, I'll watch every single show, every single 90-day episode, and
the side shows, the pre-shows, the backgrounds, the whole shit.
Possible, I'll rewatch them, and then sometimes I'll go like on Instagram or something. I'm like, I just really want to see what they're seriously doing in real life, and then there's obviously like the fraud pages that like exposes them and stuff like that. So but I don't know. Like, do you feel like you obsess over anything like in that manner?
You know what? It depends. I mean,
where you just won't stop.
I guess it depends on whatever I'm into. Like, I'm like balls deep into it. Like, when I was in my younger age, when I was in my younger age, I was real into underground music and like horrorcore music with ICP, and I would go to the shows, buy the merchandise, and it was like a way of life. Like I was into it. Then I got older and I'm doing DJing and hip hop, which I'm still part of DJing. Which shameless plug, if you guys want a brand new mix, I just dropped a brand new dancehall mix. Blends for Blends, Volume 3.
That's such a shameful plug.
Dirty. Yeah, I had to let people know. I got some crazy dancehall Jamaican hits on there. But I'm obsessed over DJing. Obviously, since 2007, 2008, I've been into cigars. I'm real involved in cigars and reviews and
I think maybe that's a slight obsession for sure. Because
and recently, like, again, I gave props to Frankie earlier. Frankie Drinks, my brother. Getting into all these different alcohols, whether it's the bourbons, the mezcals, the scotches, the whiskeys, the wines, the sake, like just getting this knowledge. So I guess when I am given something I'm interested in, I guess I do tend to like just go all in. But you could pretty much see that based on whatever I'm sharing on social media. Like wrestling is another thing that I guess mine's more of a I can say obsession over it, but because I can live without it for.
I think you get a lot of information, like as far as cigars, like. You know, it's not just like, oh, I like this brand and that brand. It's like, oh, well, this is how it's rolled, and this is why it tastes like this, and this is why, like, all that stuff that
you want to get in depth into it. You want to know what becomes part of it. Like, you know, that individual's wanting to know Joe Coy's history and dig into all his stuff and find out his stuff. Like, when I was smoking a cigar, I'll tell you one thing, going down to Nicaragua, I had a whole different appreciation for it because I got to see it actually from seed to leaf to holding it in your hand and smoking it, and it's like, man, it just gives you this extended knowledge. So yeah, depending on what I am, I guess I will consider myself in that subject line of like obsessing / like getting all into
but I guess that's also different too, because it's like a hobby, whereas this person is like, this is just a person like she's really liking right now.
I can't think of
or you know, like, is there, you know,
I can't.
I guess for me it's TLC because that's not a hobby. I just really I'm obsessed with the show.
Yeah, I mean,
so
you noticing
for you it's different because that's a hobby.
I'm just like a big fucking poker game. I take all the chips and I go all in, I guess. I mean, because you can see my everyday activities. Obviously, we live together. I mean, I am your sugar daddy.
Sometimes you tend to obsess over like that show you watch, like The Food That Built America.
Yeah, that's a good show. But again, I obsess over the information.
In, you're like, it's the information. You're like, did you know? And then like you keep going and you keep searching. But that's the history buff for me.
That was like a couple months ago. We was all into like Egypt and King Tutankhamun and all.
Yeah, but I still want to watch that. We just haven't because you're busy watching that show.
Yeah, I mean. So I guess it just, you know what, it depends on what I am. Just like we were talking a little earlier, it depends what the season is. There's stuff that I am currently all into, and I'm, like I said, put all my chips in and I go all in for it.
Maybe that's just, you know, being like a super fan. You know, when you're a super fan of like anyone or anything, a music group or another artist or an actor or something like that, you just kind of like go all in and like they just become this person. You're like, I want to know them.
There you go. You said music and artists like Bad Bunny. I mean, I was rocking with Bad Bunny since the beginning and seeing where he goes. I follow all his shit. I check all his stuff. I listen to his latest songs. I rock with him. I add him in my mixes, and I guess that's an individual. If you want to corner somebody that I'll go all in on and check their background story and see where they came from and continuously keep up with them. Maybe
something like that.
Yeah, I guess if you want to pull hairs.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, folks, this has been another episode of Bona Fide Bullshit, the podcast. We appreciate you guys. We, as she would say, really fucking appreciate you.
Really fucking appreciate. Keep the questions coming. I honestly love seeing these things. It just makes my day.
It does.
It makes me laugh. There's so many more, honestly, that we don't have time for, but I thought those were some
maybe
good
soon
ones
we'll do an all questions episode. Like I said, we hit more on the relatable episodes or stuff for folks, and we try to keep it informative. But maybe we just, like I said, maybe if we keep getting so much that we're gonna go ahead and probably do an all questions episode, so we can give you guys our 2 cents and for whatever it's worth to you guys. So.
Oh yeah, and someone else said, when are you gonna have like a guest? Like a live guest, and we've been trying to figure out how we're gonna do that. Like if they're gonna be here, or if we're just gonna do like a Zoom
mobile,
or something like that.
I'm gonna like do a mobile one. Probably have them here in the studio, and we'll figure something out here. As you can see, we're still going on. There's some renovations inside the studio here. So
your office.
Yeah, the office. The Diplomat Dungeon is what I nicknamed it. But once again, we appreciate you guys tuning in with us each and every week, rocking out with us on all your favorite podcast platforms. as well as on YouTube. So make sure you guys click, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the
Bona bell.
The Bona bell, which is that notifications bell. And make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at bonafide_BS. And make sure you guys, if you haven't submitted a question, don't be scared. Like I said, we don't put you on blast. We answer it. So
give me some parenting bullshit. Tell me some shit that'll make me feel better about my life.
A little pat on the back. All right, guys. Appreciate it as always. Much love.
Peace out, bitches.